Peter Firth played Scooper. And if you go into the Internet Movie Database, he's got a heck of a long line of television shows and movies he's done. And I guess he was a captain of a boat in Amistad, which I believe was his last thing he was in.
Right.
And of course, Brinsley Ford, probably a lot of people don't realize he played Spring, but Brinsley is now, help me out here because I'm not sure the pronunciation, the name of his group is Oswald?
Oswald, right.
Right, and it's a sort of a reggae kind of group, and they did the music for the X-Files movie.
That's correct.
And he's also hosting a show on VH1. And did you ever find out what happened with Harry Booth? I remember reading something on the website that somebody said that Roy Simpson, I guess the producer, had retired to Australia, and I guess they said Harry went with him or something, and I guess died of natural causes. Have we ever confirmed that, or?
Yeah, actually, it was a couple of years ago. I think he was in Australia. Harry Booth had passed on. Roy's still alive and well and living in somewhere in England.
Okay. And, of course, as I told you a couple of weeks ago, was on the BBC that Derek Geiler, who used to play the policeman, used to chase the kids all over to hell and back, he passed away. But one of the fascinating things about Derek was that he was a member in one given form of another of 6,000 radio plays that were done over the span of the 20s, 30s, and 40s. He was real big in radio plays for the BBC and other shows, and was a cast member of some 6,000 radio plays. So these people have gotten, some serious history behind them. But let's talk about something else too. Bruce Clark played Styx, and was the only American of the troupe. Pretty much, I guess, all of them were British. Tiger was British also, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so everybody was British except for Bruce. And you pretty much have a Where Are They Now, but all of a sudden there was a blank spot. Nobody knew where Bruce was. Why don't you go ahead and pick up on that?
Okay. Well, I was able to locate just about everybody on that list except for Bruce, and even speaking with Doug Simmons, neither he nor Roy knew where he was, and so I thought I'd put a search out there for him, asking anybody who visited the site if anybody knew his whereabouts or any way that would be a possible way of contacting him, and that was marginally effective. I got more people asked, with comments of support, saying, we hope you find him.
Never mind that we hope we find him, we hope you know something of how to find him.
That's correct. And so for about a year or so I had that sitting out there, and it wasn't until I decided, well, I think I watched Oprah one day where they had some people on there from 1-800-US search.
Yeah.
And I was missing some vital information, like nobody knew his middle name, nobody knew his date of birth, and if you know that information, you can find that kind of you can actually locate a person with just that information. I was hopping around on eBay one day, and I saw a magazine, I believe it was Tiger Beat, November 1970 issue, and it had each of the cast members' birth date and middle names, and that was exactly what I needed. For $10, I did a quick search, asked for everybody named Bruce A. Clark in the United States that had that exact same birth date and year, and came up with one address. And
Wait a minute, just one?
Just one.
That's amazing, because I would think that Clark and then the middle initial A and Bruce, that could go to a lot of places. Yeah,
that was quite a challenge. Just before this service, I was going to try to send an email to every Bruce Clark in the world. But I decided against that. But I was really surprised. I sent a letter thinking, oh yeah, I'll get somebody else, and I'm back to square one. But he wrote me back and gave all the right information to prove that he was who he was. And I put him in touch with Doug Simmons, and he put him in touch with some other people, and they all confirmed that this is the right Bruce.
I'll be darned. See, this is amazing. Now, nobody's known his whereabouts for, what, 25 years?
Yeah, he just kind of disappeared.
Just disappeared. Obviously, from the Internet Movie Database, looks like he hasn't really done much acting-wise except since Double Decker, so it's not like he had a long filmography, say, like Peter Firth or Michael Andreessen, for that matter.
Yeah.
And so not much contact in the business. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about Bruce and some other things that are happening over at the site.